So, good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to another interview of the Shield Dude on a Couch. I'm your host, Hector, and today I'm joined by Joe Cocchi. You may know him as the guitar player for Within the Ruins, and we're here to talk about the brand new album, Phenomena 2, which is coming out on August the 23rd. So, Joe, how are you this morning?
I'm good. I'm feeling good. Thanks for doing this, and yeah, we're good to go, man.
So yeah, this album is very important because it comes 10 years after Phenomena 1, which is one of your most acclaimed albums. And on that album, you were talking about like comic book heroes, and you're continuing that on this new record. So was that a conscious decision to revisit that, or were you just like writing material and it just came out?
Yeah, you're not the first to ask. But no, it wasn't at the start. It wasn't the plan. It just kind of like came about. We worked on the album for. It took 3 years to do this album from the day I started writing. But yeah, like long story short, I usually write the music. I had like 3 or 4 demos I started sending to the band, and our vocalist Steve, he kind of thought one of the songs like reminded him of the Phenomena album. This is in like 2 years ago. And then he came up with the idea of like, hey, it's almost the 10-year anniversary of Phenomena. We didn't get to do a celebrate the 10-year anniversary of any other album. We always wanted to. We just didn't know, which album. It hadn't worked out. But so he threw it out there, and we kind of shot it down. We were like, maybe. But let's see where this goes. And but then after he said that, I started kind of writing in that style. So I was like, oh, maybe it'd be cool to revisit some of the themes or like the guitar effects and like the writing style from that album, because at this point we've done 7 albums. So I was like, hey, you don't have to always reinvent or like go in this crazy different direction. Like it's always nice to go back to your roots. So yes, it was like a pinnacle album for us in our career. And this album, we thought we were shooting to put it out in 2023, but it was taking a while. So then Steve brought it up again. He said, well, if we put it out in 2024, that's 10 years. And then it all just kind of fell into place. And we finally said, okay, just start writing. Let's see, what you come up with for lyrics. And we did the album ourselves here at my studio. So when Steve started flying out here to do vocal sessions, we did the first few with the characters he was kind of writing from the perspective of, and everything felt great. It was super exciting. His material he brought to the studio was awesome. And then so then I went from there and just kept writing with that in mind. And what I mean by that is like it was pretty much like, let's do what we know how to do. Let's go back and look at what we've done, and let's just make some raw, just when you hear it, you hear Within the Ruins. So it was like a kind of all that put together. It just kind of came about. But once we got into it, it was really fun to do, and I think it turned out great. So
Yeah, and obviously the first song on the album, "Castle in the Sky," is obviously about Frank Castle, the Punisher. So with his point of view of like he will return and be with his family when he dies. So any Punisher fan will know that reference. But I caught some just by looking at the titles, like Daywalker, obviously Blade,
yep,
and you have there's a Daredevil song
yep.
in almost at the end. But I'm asking you, which Daredevil, Ben Affleck or the Netflix one?
Well, I keep saying Steve's always the better person to ask, because I mean he did a lot of research. He is a fan. It wasn't one specifically, and again, I always like to mention it's not necessarily about the character. It's from
Based on. or
It's
inspired?
yeah, well, it's from the character's like point of view. So like his goal was to say like put himself in that mindset and say I'm that character and I'm gonna write, you know, from that point of view. So if there's multiple versions or you know ones from different time frames, like he kind of engulfed himself into all of it. Like he did everything he needed to do to be able to just be that character, I guess. So that one I can't say for sure, but I was impressed at what he did when he would come in and explain to me what he was doing and where he got his, you know, how he got his mindset. Um so and yeah, I mean like I guess without giving too much away, like if you're a fan of any of these types of characters and stuff, like I'm sure you can really figure it out once you listen or read his lyrics. But and then also I like to point out you don't have to be a fan. Like I'm not as into this as Steve is. So it's cool because I looked at his lyrics as kind of a normal person. Like
Yeah.
you can interpret things in many ways. So to me, the stuff he was writing, I interpreted it like, you know, my way. And I was like, either way, these are still great, you know, great lyrics. They're great stories. So, but yes, he kind of took stuff from all over the place.
Yeah, I'm not a huge comic book nerd either.
Yeah.
So so yeah, but I know some, but I haven't read comics in years. So but yeah, I could tell. So I'm wondering which song was the one that he said that reminded him of Phenomena Part One?
I think it was Demon Killer. That's the third song on the album. And I think I wrote that kind of earlier in the process. Um Yeah, I don't know. I think it was just like the beginning of it. There's a song on the original Phenomena album called Ronin, and it's
Mhm.
like a really low, like open notes, like kind of groovy. The same way Demon Killer starts in a way. It's different enough. But yeah, and just that I don't know, I guess it was like the whole style of that song, the tempo, the riffing. Um that was the one that he was like, "Oh man, that kind of reminds me of like some older stuff." So
Yeah, well, this album, you have that distinctive guitar tone that it's you guys. I don't know. It's that like that modern metalcore, like with some like special effects that you have on this record. So I know you produced this record and you did it in your studio, which is also your brewery, right?
yes, yeah, you did your research. Yeah, we did. Steve and I produced it. We did it all here. It's the same building that my brewery is at. So yeah,
That's smart because hey, we need a break. I'm like, I'm in my brewery. I can have a beer or I can keep up with my other business. So that's a cool way. So having tell me about your brewery because that's interesting and that's also a way. Are you doing like within the ruins beer?
yeah. We're doing a beer release with the album artwork on it. The beer is called Daywalker, which is the second song on the album. Yeah, next week, not this coming Monday, next Monday, we have a Metal Monday, we call it. And because we're not usually open Monday, but sometimes we'll do Metal Monday. We just play our heavy metal playlist. And we're gonna do a pre-listening party, so we're gonna play the whole album the week before it comes out. We'll release the beer. The beer looks really cool. We canned that the other day. We'll have vinyl and CD and some merchandise and stuff available. So, um, yes, we're doing a beer for it. And I forgot what the other part of your question was. The
Yeah,
brewery.
I forgot myself, but it's cool that you can have your own brewery and instead of relying on another brewery, you just do it yourself.
Yes, it is great. You definitely have to keep yourself in check. You have to have discipline. But the brewery, we've been doing the brewery for 7 years now. So beer and drinking beer is nothing new to me. So it's like, it's okay. but it's helpful. Yeah, like you said, like I can work. That's what I do for work when I'm not doing music. That's my main job. And it's great because if I have time, I can run over here. Like the whole 3-year process of recording this album, part of the reason it took so long is because we were able to take that long. The label was okay with it. They said, whenever it's done, just let us know. So yeah, like not to ramble, but like, yeah, if I want to pop over here and record some stuff, if I'm in the mood, it's right here. It's great. You don't always have that element. Like a lot of times in the past, it was like, go right because you have to do the next album. So the music, it affects the music, you know, when you have a lot of extra time and you can just go back and forth over the course of 2 years, even 3 years. Like, I mean, I was still writing parts and changing parts up till the day we handed it in for mix in this past February. So yeah, it's a great way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, plus, you know, you have your studio right there. I think it's less pressure and it's a fun way to do it. And the album, you know, I listened to it. You can tell that you took your time because you even have like instrumentals, songs, parts like that divide the songs, which I thought was pretty cool. And you know that guitar tone. I think that guitar tone is something very important. So, like for you as when you're producing stuff, like what approach do you take to producing your own band?
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, like it's tough because like I wear a lot of hats. Like a lot of the music starts with what I write. I record. I sit down and record as I write.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the stuff that ended up on the album, guitar wise, was actually what I played when I was just writing the demo. I've sometimes can write quicker than I can record. So I'll just play real fast, get this part, and I'll say, okay, I'll go back and I'll re-record it better later. But some of the stuff didn't need to be re-recorded. So like half the album is what I actually just played while I was literally writing it. So that's cool. Producing it, like the one thing I tried to keep in mind this time was to not over edit and not make everything too perfect. Like you still have to have these nuances, and it's okay if one guitar on this side doesn't sound exactly like the one on this side in some parts, or you hear like you know, my hand move on the string, or like you hear, you know, little things like that. I tried to keep those this time because in the past I've really tried to make things like super tight, like too perfect, which is okay too. But yeah, it's hard to produce in a way because you're so in the project as a creative and as writing. So sometimes it's hard to remember that, like, on the other side, you have to make sure the takes are good. I tracked all of Steve's vocals with him. And as we're tracking, we're creating, and we're still, you know, we're creating, but we're also having to remember, like, these are the takes that are going to be on the album. So let's remember to listen with the producer ear and, you know, make sure we're doing a good job on that side rather than just letting the excitement of the creative take over. Because sometimes you go back a week, or he'll come back a month later for a session, and we'll listen to some stuff and we're like, man, we'll be like, I don't know, we should probably redo some of that, because in the moment we were having too much fun and we were probably having too much beer. And so yeah, it's definitely a balance, because you're doing both things. You're creating and you're also trying to engineer and produce. So
And you
yeah.
also, you've been in the game now. You've been a band, at least putting out albums 21 years now. So you're legally allowed to drink as a band.
Yeah. Okay. Good way of looking at it.
Yeah, so you've been around like you started like when metalcore was like getting like really like with the Killswitch Engage, all those bands. So yeah, when I saw the name, I'm like, I know Within the Ruins, like it really reminds me of that time. I used to buy a lot of my shit at Hot Topic.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know people are like, oh, Hot Topic. I'm like, I don't know. I got a lot of cool bands from Hot
Yeah.
Topic. I don't know why people shit on it now. So for you, how has the scene changed, when you started in 2003 to now?
Oh man. Well, it's kind of crazy to say we've been a band that long because I'll be honest, like the first few EPs, I think they're still out there on like Spotify and wherever you get music. But those first two, we were just out of high school, and we've been playing together for since 2000, to be honest. Me and our drummer. But yes, metalcore. Like, we're from Western Mass, so like we had a great music scene. With the metalcore coming about, like Kill Switch, Unearth, All That Remains, Shadows Fall, Converge. Before that, like we were in the mix, and that was what was happening around us. So yeah, our first few albums, we said, let's try to write like that. Let's. I think we're frozen here.
No, I'm here. I'm good. I'm good. We're good. We're not frozen.
Um, let's see. I try not to ramble, but yeah, those first two albums didn't do anything. We were trying to shop to labels, but yes, when we heard those bands I just mentioned, we started going in that direction, and we were sending those two EPs to labels, and then we finally got signed because of MySpace. So like every time we would go to the studio, we would fund it ourselves. We would go to the studio down the road here, make an album, send it to press, and then shop it to labels.
The first time I saw you, I heard your band was through MySpace.
Yeah, those were definitely the MySpace days. So like in 2008, we put some newer shit up there, and Victory Records contacted us, and we were just like, what? After all the stuff we had sent out to labels and all the demos, none of that worked. But MySpace got somebody found it. Yeah, so I don't know. We just kept. It's you don't really know what's going on until you look back at it. Sometimes, like in the moment, we were doing our first album for Victory. It came out in 2009. We were already DIY touring, so like honestly, the first 5 years of our career was just dicking around, buying a van. We were booking our own tours on MySpace, and these weren't tours. These were playing at local bars wherever we could find something that would let us play. We didn't even get paid half the time. The scene has changed for sure. Like I remember when we first started doing real tours, like 2010, there was still metalcore. Every local band played on any show sounded like As I Lay Dying or Kill Switch. It was like just what was going on. And I just said this in another interview the other day. I remember literally when that stopped, and I was like, oh, all the local bands started to sound like that gent type of
Periphery, and yeah, I know.
all of a sudden every local band thought they were Periphery. And I remember it happening. I was like, what is going on? Metalcore is done.
I remember it changing to having like more of like an electronic sound. I think people stopped wanting to sound like As I Lay Dying, probably when Tim tried to get his ex-wife whacked. Yeah, I would say so, but they're still a band. But yeah, it's interesting how it has changed. And do you miss MySpace? Because I think MySpace was great to bands. Like because Facebook doesn't do anything for bands. I think MySpace, a lot of bands like got a lot of like exposure with that one.
Yeah, I don't think I necessarily miss it, but since
Yeah.
I got to go through that, it was a fun little time where like as a band you have your band page, and then you remember you could put like your top friends or your top
And your songs
that you liked. So like if you found a band you liked, then all their top pages would be bands they liked. And that was how I found bands that's how we found bands to tour with, because we'd go like Wretched was a band they're still a band that signed to Victory the same time we did. So we just found them on MySpace and said, hey, do you want to go on the road with us? And then like, it was a cool time for sure. and you could actually contact and talk to the bands. I remember messaging the Human Abstract. I don't know if you
Oh
remember
yeah, I
that.
know the band. Yeah.
Like, I was young. I was just like, hey, how did you get signed? What do you got? You know, and I was talking to the guitar player. He probably don't even remember that. But yeah, MySpace was cool, but it was short lived. And then yeah, I do agree. It's tough now. Um, I mean, the only thing good now is maybe YouTube, because like if you're listening to a band, you know how it does all the suggested like
Yeah.
that shit that sounds like that band. Sometimes I find new stuff from that, but yeah, it's definitely a weird time now. And to your point, like, yeah, MySpace days, booking our own shows, selling CDs, and then I remember seeing CDs go away. I remember not even ordering CDs for an album, and then the transition into streaming. I mean, this is a whole nother topic we could talk about forever. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's been it's been crazy to be
Yeah.
in all that. Yeah.
Yeah, you started as a band with all the changes. So you've seen all the in the 21 years, you've seen all the changes like rapidly because you started when it was like all changing. So I want to show the artwork of the new album, which is pretty cool. Obviously, it's a nod to the first album. So tell me a little bit about the album artwork and who did it and what you're trying to convey with it.
Well, it's obviously, yeah, based on the original. We weren't sure. There were a lot of ideas because this is like a sequel. So it was like we wanted to do the same type of thing, but we didn't want to just take the old album cover and put part two on it because that's boring.
No, exactly. Yeah, you want to do a new thing. Yeah.
Yeah, the artist was Adam Burke. He actually painted that. The original one was done, you know, I don't know how, computer. This was actually hand painted. So we thought it'd be cool to add like a different style to it.
Yeah.
We wanted the same type of color scheme, but we wanted it to be a little bit darker feeling because this album, it is Phenomena 2, but I do think there's still some growth and the mix is different and it has a darker feel, a more, you
And it's
know,
been
like,
10 years, you know, you've grown as a band.
yeah, exactly. We were trying to still show and, you know, like accept the growth because no matter what, it's not going to be like if it was 2014 and we made a double album. You know, this stuff still is different. You're not the same person 10 years ago. But so you're trying to show that with this one. So it's like, it's to me, the image is just darker feeling. And we told them to use some of the same colors. It still has the hand at the top, which the original had the hand dropping the watch, which was inspired by the Clockwork song on the original. But then this one, having the hand come back up and like catching, you know, the watch or it going in, kind of signified the continuation. I, I think that's pretty much.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
pretty cool. I think I like this artwork better than the original one.
Good.
So yeah, it's a cool album artwork. So yeah, it really goes well. So right now for you, you know, the album, I know it's coming out soon and there's a few singles. Right now, do you have a favorite track from the record?
Oh man, yeah. That's a hard question, but it depends. Like, I mean, if all the tracks weren't my favorite, then they wouldn't be on the album. You know, like we had. I mean, being the writer, like, yeah, they're all different, and I like them all in a different way. But actually, I think lately, like, I'll go back and I'll listen to it here and there still because it's still fresh and it's coming out. But lately, I've been listening to Daywalker, the second one on the album. Again, the beer that we're doing is called Daywalker. That one's pretty cool to me. It wasn't a single because at the time, it just didn't feel like it. Now I feel like it could have been a single, but like you can never win. I mean, but I like that one. It's got like some guitar effects and it towards the end there that are literally like the exact same as the original Phenomena from the song Clockwork. Yeah, it just has a cool familiarity, but it also shows a little bit of growth too. Like this, like I said, the songwriting it's not exactly the same as the original because it can't be, and it also would be
Yeah,
really.
yeah,
But
that wouldn't be cool. Like it has to have this difference. But to be honest, Joe, like because I listened to the whole album, like something that I found is that almost all the songs on this record could have been a single. They have that single, they have like that catchiness, but catchiness without being like corny, because sometimes people think catchy and corny, but yeah, I think every song is different, but they have like some similarity. I think it's the tone of the guitar tone. I know you do something that's like no 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 that sounds like that clean, like very sound that it's more like a modern metalcore style, like it has evolved. So but yeah, every song could have been a single, so I think that's a good thing.
thanks. I do agree. We had a hard time picking singles because we loved all the songs. At one point, it was like, let's just throw them in a hat and pick. Like it didn't really matter. We were so happy with everything. It was like whatever we put out is fine. So yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's good because like I think nowadays a lot of people like concentrate on having like two hit singles, and then you hear the rest of the record and it's like eh. So and back in the day you were supposed to like it's all about the record experience.
Yeah, I'm still like that. Like um and I still think you should listen to it from the beginning
Mm-hmm.
to the end, which the internet ruined mostly, but like because sometimes you just pop a song on randomly out of the middle of the album. That's fine, but like I do still have that, I guess, kind of old school idea of creating an actual record that takes you somewhere. And like you don't always, that's not a thing anymore, really. Not everyone buys a CD, puts it in, and starts it at the beginning and reads the inside and like experiences it the way we used to. But that's fine. I mean, it is what it is. But I am a big fan of yeah, and I never liked to do, oh, let's get two really good songs and then the rest is kind of watered down like filler shit. Like to me, every song we write is got to be a song that's if someone was like play one song for this person um to get an idea of your band, it should be any of all and every of the songs to me. So
Yeah, plus if people have streaming and they don't pay, I think the album it puts it on shuffle, so you never get to listen to it like in the order. Since I'm obsessed with music, I pay for the streaming, so because I like to listen to albums like they're intended to, from front to back. That's how you did it back in the day. You put the CD, and more when you had tapes. You had to
yeah,
listen to, you couldn't skip or
yep.
you would ruin the tape. So the album's gonna be out on the 23rd, so a few weeks from now. Do you have like plans, shows, like doing like once you put it out?
Yeah, we have some shows planned in October. We're announcing that today, actually.
Okay, so
Yeah,
once this is out, people will know.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're doing some stuff in the Midwest. Our singer and our bass player live in Texas, so that's become like our second home. So if we're gonna, rather than driving and touring all the way out there, we just fly out there. We have our other gear set up there, and so we're doing some Midwest stuff, and then we're gonna take a week off, and then we're gonna do some Northeast stuff. That's kind of how we're touring for right now because we did a solid 10 years of like 8 months out of the year touring, and I'm 38 now, so I don't want to do that. So we're doing as much as we can in October, and then we'll see what happens from there. We still, we want to get back to Europe. We want to get back to, traveling to some cool places. So yeah, it's all in the mix right now.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put the link for people who want to pre-order the album. So, Joe, I want to thank you for taking some time of your busy morning to chat with me about Within the Ruins, Phenomena 2, and music and everything. So, anything you like to say to the fans before we go?
Well, I guess I just kind of said the touring stuff, but yeah, it's coming out August 23rd. There are some cool vinyl packages. I mean, we spent some time. I don't know if I mentioned it, but the album wouldn't fit on one vinyl, so we had to do a double.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the double vinyl we did to fill it, we're releasing all the songs as instrumentals as well. So
nice.
Just trying to do like cool shit, you know, like it's 2024, so the more content the better. But yeah, we'll be doing some playthroughs. We're gonna be releasing isolated tracks from the album, so like just guitar tracks, just vocals. We're trying to do something different with this one, but yeah, I hope everyone can, you know, find it or listen to it wherever they get music and enjoy it. And you know, if we're playing near you, a show near you, come hang with us, because that's why we do it. So
yeah, that's why you do it, man. So awesome, man. Thanks for your time. So Couchers, you heard it here. Within the Ruins, the album's coming out soon, and soon more shows. So until next time, this is Hector, the Shield Dude on a couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you and goodbye.
thanks, man.